If not dead by cop, then dead by violence of our own hands, like the 17 dead and about 100 shot in Chicago during the 4th of July weekend. The city's police superintendent, Larry Snelling, puts it plain.
If we want to avoid having these types of press conferences and these types of meetings again, we need every single person to step up. We need people to start coming forward. We need people to take responsibility. Help us, help you.
What's happening to us?
Whether we know it or not, and whether we are willing to accept it or not, a lot of our people are basically sleepwalking. The movie Walking Dead, the TV show Walking Dead was actually a subliminal message about Black people. Black people are walking dead. So we don't even realize where we at, what's happening to us, and who's doing it.
Solutions to stop what's killing us from someone with the pulse of the streets. Next on Blackland.
And now,
as a brown person, you just feel so invisible.
Black not fiction. Where we're from.
Brothers and sisters, I welcome you to this joyful day.
We celebrate freedom. Where we are.
Get on the ground!
I know someone heard something.
And where we're going.
We the people means all the people.
The Black Information Network presents Blackland with your host, Vanessa Tyler.
The gunshots, the violence, all the deaths. What's happening to us? Our people are dying by our hands or hands of the police. It's something Demetrius Bey has been thinking about a lot. Demetrius Bey, formerly known as Dangerous, now known as Demegod, welcome.
How are you? Thank you.
Demegod is a hip-hop culturalist, meaning he is immersed in it, the music, the dance, the language, the fashion, the culture.
I have extensive background in the street, so I came up in the wrong side of the street. I came up going to prison. I came up being brainwashed by the programming system that basically is one of the main cause of why our young men tend to get into the street and get into the violence.
He should know. He's like a lot of our young Black men, pulled a gun and pulled the trigger and paid for it too. How long were you away and why were you away?
The first time I went away for 2 years, and I was in a youth detention center because I was only 15 at the time. And then the second time I went away, I was 16. I went away for 7.5 years. The third time I went away for 5 years. So altogether, I gave the system 12 years of my life. Before that would have even happened to me, all of that could have been alleviated if I would have knew what I knew now. The first time I went away for attempted murder because I was 15. I just moved to Mount Vernon from Brooklyn, and young melanated men have this thing with each other because it's a programming that we need to go against each other. This what we call black on black crime. This is something that's a part of the programming.
The programming, Demegod says, that's the root of the problem. What these kids are thinking, it's all wrong, detrimental, dangerous.
The school is programming the kids to be one way. They don't teach our kids to be thinkers, to be free thinkers and to be entrepreneurs. The school system is rooted in the jail prison system. So everything that we see in the prisons, we see in the schools. They're not telling the kids exactly the truth. They're not telling the kids the truth about their history. And us as people, we tend to follow. So we tend to be the sheep. If we see it on TV, we want to go buy it. If we hear it in the music, we want to go try it. So all they got to do is have a rapper wear some clothes, talk a certain type of way, say certain things, and then you'll have 100,000 kids mimicking this rapper. So these are the things that they know that they can use against the Black community, which I like to refrain from calling us the Black community, because that's another point to why we in the position where we in. We calling ourselves Black, and there's no such thing as Black people.
Demegod says being aware is in him, part of his DNA.
I've always been conscious, and my mother, I came up in a home. My mother was an ex-Black Panther. She was very involved in the community. Books were her thing, reading. She was an accountant, so she kept me. I always had that conscious enlightenment, that overhaul from not just public school education, but I had education at home when it came to spirituality, when it came to certain things that a lot of our youth aren't getting right now.
He admits he was part of the music scene where murder and money were the lyrics. But as he mentioned, he started to change, grow, deprogram.
I have extensive background in the street, so I came up in the wrong side of the street. I came up going to prison. I came up being brainwashed by the programming system that basically is one of the main cause of why our young men tend to get into the street and get into the violence. And I was a victim of that. I came up out of that. I rose up out of that. When I came home from prison in 1999, I signed a record deal with Prince, the artist, God bless the dead, the icon. He taught me a lot, especially about owning your own music, owning your own intellectual properties, and being independent and being able to stand alone as an artist and an entrepreneur. Then I went on to basically working in an entertainment law firm. I worked in New York City at an entertainment law firm for 2 years, learning the business, getting my contacts. And then I moved on, started my own multimedia company, More Money Entertainment. I got songs with Kanye West. I was on the Bait soundtrack. I don't know if everybody remember the Bait, the movie Bait with Jamie Foxx. We had the title song with Scarface Took the Bait. I premiered to the world on that soundtrack. And it's kind of interesting because at that time when I did that soundtrack, I was still in between my unconsciousness and consciousness. So I was still had one foot still in the street. I had one foot in something constructive, but I was still like treading that thin line. And I was on gangster rap. My name was Dangerous at the time. I was doing gangster rap. And then I had an overhaul of my whole image and I reinvented myself. And I basically came into enlightenment.
His full name, Hafiz Demetrius Saiful Bey, a.k.a. Demegod, is an author and, as you can hear in the verses below, a poet.
A mother water burst. She about to have a seed. They got plans for it. It's a conspiracy. Now let's guess. What will he grow to be? A baller, lawyer, or MC? Or maybe just a bum living on the street? Or crazy up in the prison infirmary? They got us under pressure. My generation's exa. Where do we turn next? Is it to that dresser to get the chrome techer and go berserk? No matter how hard we work, we make lesser. Gotta stoop to lower measures to live better. So its pleasure becomes sex, money, and guns. Ben's interior plum, jury weighing a ton. Like his ancestors, the people, God blesses, the oppressors, distresses, here to Texas, sending out SOSs for their stresses.
He says it is knowledge of self needed to put down the guns and reject those bringing them in, because everybody knows that's how the guns arrive.
The kids came and told me, man drove in the community, popped his trunk, he had a trunk full of guns. For me, I think the main problem is the schools. Education is the reason why our kids are killing each other, because they're being taught lies.
He believes the programming began in the 60s and 70s.
We didn't have violence on black violence back then like that. It wasn't prevalent. It wasn't until the programming. It wasn't until the black exploitation movies. It wasn't until programming. Once they put the movies out, we tend to want it to be like what we saw in the movies. And you had the pimps, the hoes, you had the sugar mamas, you had all these things coming from black exploitation movies. You understand?
He's got a plan to stick it to the man. He's super hood, super high, super dude, super fly.
So what should we do now as a people? Now you're part of the organization Rough Riders to the Rescue. What have you been doing in the community, and what should we do?
With Rough Riders, what we do is Rough Riders to the Rescue. We mediate gun violence. gang violence. So if we hear about gangs that's about to go at each other, or we hear about people that's about to go at each other, we get out there in the streets, we talk, we get them, get them to squash it and get them to piece it up. Even with the officers, if there's officers giving youth a problem and we get wind to it, we go speak to the officers. We recruit prominent people in the community to work with us, and we take it upon ourselves to put out fires. That's what we do. We put out fires.
What we need is to look back, way back, as we move forward, like the symbolic bird.
The Sankofa bird is to look back at the ancestors and see and study why they was doing what they was doing, and duplicate that. We need to do what our ancestors was doing. We need to live how our ancestors was living. We need to practice our own culture. There's nobody that could duplicate the pyramids. Those are our ancestors. Why are we so adamant of not studying our ancestors and becoming our ancestors and picking up our culture back? That's because of programming. The whole story that we come from Africa and all the Black people here come from Africa is bogus. They teaching this to our kids till this day. Only 9% of the slaves in America came from Africa. They enslaved the dark-skinned people that was already here. My mother is Cherokee, Choctaw, and Blackfoot, right? My father is Cherokee. I'm not from Africa. I didn't come from Africa. My family don't have no history of us being in Africa. If we came from Africa, we came 100,000 years before Christopher Columbus. We was already here. When they didn't let us read and write, they rewrote the history books, which every conqueror does. If you win the war, you get to have the spoils. The great grandkids of your enemy become your subjects, and you get to rewrite history the way you want it. How come they're not teaching our kids the truth? So we need to eliminate the public school system. If we're not going to fight the education system and demand that they put the truth in the books to teach our kids, then we need to remove our kids from the public system and teach them somewhere else. The Jews have their own school, while we don't have our own school. So these are the things that would give us remedy. These things will give us remedy. Definitely. Education will give us remedy.
Demegod says we should learn about the Moors, the dark-skinned people from the Middle Ages, but efforts in some communities led by Republican lawmakers on a mission to try to remove the Black history we have. And there is an all-out war on the teaching of critical race theory. Even at the elementary school level, Board of Ed meetings have become contentious battlegrounds.
My number one reason for not liking this book is because I do not want my son to treat people differently because they have a different color skin, not because I am a racist.
His books, titled If God Could Rap, and a book about what's really going on in Black relationships, suggesting single Black mothers who have children fathered from one Black man form a family to protect and properly raise the children, an idea many may think is too far-fetched to consider, at least in America.
I wrote Polygamy More Wet because, like I said, I come from a single family home. We are a victim of the programming. We're a victim of the social construct. So my father wasn't there. My mother's father wasn't there. Her mother's father wasn't there. So I started to sit back and see the generational curse. And I wanted to break that generational curse.
He says it's done anyway in the Black community. Why not make it work?
We're practicing monogamy, serial monogamy. It's not even really real monogamy because we're going from one person to the next. Monogamy is you meet one person and you stay with that one person for life. When they say it takes a village to raise a child, that comes from a culture that practiced polygamy.
And to the brothers, this message.
And More Wet, a man had to work and had to show through his work that he was ready to be a husband and a father. We don't have that no more. You know what I'm saying? We have this thing called romance. One of the chapters in my book is called More Wet versus Romance. So romance, a man doesn't have to show anything. He doesn't have to do nothing. All he have to do is romance you, get your drawers off, and then if he don't want to call you tomorrow, he don't have to. We need to play fair with each other and wake up to what's really going on and admit what's really going on.
How can people follow you?
I'm on all platforms at Official Demegod, DEMEGOD. And my website is More Money Entertainment. More Money, MOORMONEYENT.com. MoreMoneyENT.com is the website. All social media platforms is official Demegod.
Demetrius Bey, Demegod, thank you for loving and caring for our people.
I appreciate that. Got to use art to deliver the message and raise the vibration of the planet.
I'm Vanessa Tyler. Join me next time on Blackland. We drop a brand new episode every Friday.